that bad boy gives us trouble. Tom Caltabiano here, ELR 360 Live. It's a nice, beautiful Sunday here in Hollywood. All right, let's go over it. Let's bring Instagram up here, folks. Can it, will it? Yes, there we go. Okay, not too close. Hi, everybody. Tom Caltabiano here. Everybody loves Raymond 360 Live on a Sunday, talking about all things. I don't have a card in that. Okay. Well, we'll have to hope that that is recorded well, and hopefully we don't have too much aesthetic. You guys will let me know. If we have static, let me say hello to some people. There's no reason for me to shout, even though I'm somewhat just excited. Always excited to be here. All right, let's see. Let's just turn that down a smidge. Okay, Thomas Gerard, you are the first one to say hello, and so I will bring up your comment. Hello, everybody. Hello, Michael, Gil, over in the United Kingdom. How are you guys doing there, temperature-wise? Because we, not here, not where I am, because where I am, it is, wow, that can't be correct. Alexa, what's the temperature in Hollywood, California?
It's a beautiful 82 degrees in Hollywood right now, with a high of 85 and a low of 53 for the day.
Okay, folks.
Weather for a stroll down the Walk of Fame.
Oh, thank you. It is 82 degrees Fahrenheit in Hollywood today, and it is going up to 85. So that's going to be quite the, what do I want to say? Quite the enjoyable day compared to most of the country who is, which is, I think is the proper pronoun, is freezing. Okay, I'm looking around here. Let's keep saying hello to everybody. Hi, Lisa in Massachusetts. Hi, Kim, is that you despising as someone else?
Yeah.
Oh, Alexa, stop. There you go. It was having a conversation. What a stinking hump. Yes, that was Ray Romano's father's, one of his favorite phrases. In real life, you stupid stinking hump. Okay, let's go here. Oh, look what was, why would that, oh, because there's a magnet there. Here we go. For anybody who is having a sore throat, today you might want to reach for some of those secrets. Okay, let's go over to, okay, let's go to Instagram and see if I can follow here. Okay, Kevin James movie coming out. Kevin. Still a lot of controversy there. I'm trying to get to my page here, folks. That's what you're watching me do that on my iPad, on my trusty iPad right here. Okay, let's say more hellos. Hello from Philly. It is freezing here. Well, let's find. No, I don't want to trigger everybody else's machine, as they say. Wow, on Instagram. Sorry, you're seeing the side of my head. Hello, everybody. Hello from, yes, 25 degrees in Knoxville, Tennessee. Now, what I like is most people listen to this in a rebroadcast. Obviously, you can't ask me questions in a rebroadcast, but someone is listening to this in June, and it is hitting 100 degrees in Knoxville, Tennessee. 4 inches of snow on Saturday, but it's starting to melt. Do you guys get a lot of snow? I don't know if that's a common thing for Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm not familiar with the Knoxville, Tennessee normal weather pattern. All right, a couple things that I wanted to talk about. The Grammys, by the way, are... When are the Grammys? Are the Grammys tonight? They might be tonight because it's a Sunday. Oh, wow, Instagram, again, so close. If I move back here, that gets a little better. Yes, that gets a little bit better. Yes, everybody, I feel sorry for you. Sorry, this is the last I'm going to talk about the weather. I do feel bad for those of you who are really in bad shape weather-wise. Okay, so here's one. There was a good question that came up. I posted this picture from my archives, which, for those of you who don't know, Tom Caltabiano, writer on Everose Raymond. I see me And not that I'm uptight about it, but a lot of people say Tom was the official photographer on the show. I was a writer, and only a writer. There's producer titles and stuff like that, but I was a writer from beginning to end. I am an avid photographer, and I took pictures of TV's Ray Romano from the time we started doing stand-up together back in the early 90s. That's right, the early 90s, until, when did I see Raymond last? I think we had lunch a few days ago. Did I take pictures of us then? Yes. So I take pictures of everything. I really love taking pictures. I still, for those of you following along, here is one of my lenses that I think this week I'm going to go, I'm going to go down to Nikon and get this lens fixed and my other camera, my cooler camera, my favorite portrait lens. You see a pattern, folks. There we go. You know who I saw at a Leica event? I don't have a Leica. I would like to have a Leica. They're very exceptionally expensive. Was a wartime photographer who we were comparing notes. I was in, what do I say, 0 wartime ever, but taking pictures on the set. I did bang my lenses around a lot. Okay, so I posted this photo. And let's cover this. Let's see if this can grab onto that. Wow, that's real. Oh, because my head is in the way. See, this camera is so good at seeing eyes. Okay, so it's a little blown out. There we go. Oh, I see how my other screen is blown out. Okay, so that is a dry erase board. We're going to talk about this, a few more hellos, and then we're going to talk about the dry erase board and many, many, many other things, because it is actually kind of exciting. Hi, Paulie, you're not late. Hi, Tabitha. Hi, Mona. Kevin was on a late night talk show this week. I can't remember which one. Yeah, he probably is doing the tour. So when you're promoting anything, just so you know, to borrow a phrase from Mike Royce, or Deborah, let's say, when you have a movie, when you're coming out with a movie, you have to do a press tour. So you do all the biggies, and the biggies are changing. So it used to just be the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and that was the big nighttime show. And then it started changing now with social media. So the fact that I can talk to a bunch of Raymond fans from around the world from my studio here, and it costs you $0, and it basically costs me $0, is just incomprehensible 10 years ago. So I don't know if you guys have seen the show on YouTube called Hot Ones. It's where celebrities eat progressively hotter hot wings as they're being interviewed. And that is now part of the circuit. So if I said to you 10 years ago, there's going to be a TV show on YouTube, which, did YouTube exist 10 years ago? Yeah, it just started in the 2000s, right? That you're going to have Scarlett Johansson eating hot wings on camera, I would have seemed crazy. But now the viewership is probably bigger than Kimmel and Fallon, etc. So that Kevin would be on a press tour for a movie. Generally, the only time celebrities go on shows is to promote something. That's the old days. That's the only thing you went on the Tonight Show. The only reason, because a lot of celebrities are very uncomfortable in that interview situation. And it's work. It's work to be funny. Ray Romano is a very, very funny guy, but he works at every appearance that he did on Letterman. Every Letterman appearance, he would prepare for months to sit down and seem to be casually talking to David because he wanted to entertain the audience. So Kevin would be doing that tour. Now, the advent of podcasts, there's no, on those talk shows, you had 6 minutes to talk about your movie and be charming and be funny and have people go, I really want to see the movie. And there's almost no celebrity that went on and says, because they're getting paid, and they should be promoting the project they're in. Very, very few. I remember reading that Richard Dreyfuss was trashing a movie that he was in before it came out. The director did not nail it. It's not really his fault, but it's a train wreck and a disaster. And that movie was Jaws. Yes. So Richard Dreyfuss, somewhere there's got to be video of him talking about what a terrible movie Jaws is. So Kevin would be on that tour. That's why you would see him on that tour. But with the advent of podcasting, where you can talk endlessly because it's not 6 minutes. We need the rating. We have to do this. And my friend Tony DeSena, who worked on Carson, there's a very specific thing, which is it doesn't make sense, but it's also very specific to the viewing pattern. What are you trying to say, Tom? Musical guests, giant musical guests that could sell out Madison Square Garden would usually come out last on the show because people just were in the mood to hear talking, a casual talking. So if you put out a desk and, David Letterman and one guest on stage at Madison Square Garden to talk, they would get booed off the stage. But at 11:30 at night, you're in bed and you don't necessarily want to see a rock group that can sell out for 60,000 people coming into your bedroom. So everything is such a specific thing, and that is the beauty of YouTube and what we're doing now. Because if somebody said to a TV executive, what if Tom, who wrote and unofficially took photos, went on every Sunday and talked for an hour about Evers Raymond, they would say, well, that seems like a show that we would not back. And the proof of it is the Evers Raymond reunion special, the 30-year reunion special. The networks were very, very skeptical that it would do well. And it became the highest rated special of the entire year on network television. So we are in the changing times. But there you go, Mona. That's why our friend Kevin James, who's one of the funniest people on the planet, and who also you may or may not know that the first season, and I guess I'll tell that whole story someday, but the first season of Evers Raymond, Kevin lived, Ray and I shared an apartment. Peter Boyle was in an apartment above us where is that apartment now? I can't even believe, I know where it is. It's near Fox, Hillcrest, the Hillcrest Apartments. If you look that up, you will see, if you look it up on Google, you'll see the Hillcrest Apartments. And if you were hanging out there, you would have seen Ray Romano and Peter Boyle hanging out. And even we did laundry once together. Kevin lived for a while with me and Raymond. He would crash on the couch, on the sofa bed before his show. And I guess I'll have to do a whole Kevin James episode. I don't know can I get Kevin to come here and join me? Yes, obviously that would be great. He's busy. I'll have to figure it out. At least next time I see him, I'll do a little recording. But here is something before we talk about that dry erase board. A lot of people that I read online are like, we gotcha. You thought you wouldn't get past this, that Kevin played Kevin and then he played Doug. And we know. Why didn't you just cast somebody else instead of wasting that? And same with John Manfrotati. Why did you have him be a cable guy and Johnny at the same time? Absolutely good questions, but you have to know what exactly happened. And so just to touch on it slightly, Kevin James was a friend of Ray Romano as a stand-up comedian. Kevin and I did a stand-up comedy gig right before. Moving out here, hold on, a little tea. Here we go. I didn't time that right. You're supposed to drink the tea to prevent you from coughing. Okay, let's see. How do we sound? Let's see this. Texting, yes. Okay, this. By the way, I have a lot of things that have been sent to me. I want to acknowledge that right now. That I will show you. Okay, so wow, scrolling down to catch up, as I said to Kenneth Ornstein, eventually I don't, if it gets too far, then I miss answering questions. Okay, so Kevin James was a friend of Ray Romano and myself. We did stand-up in Rascals, West Orange, I think a week before I moved out, something like that. Somewhere I have a picture of that proof sheet of the week I moved out from New Jersey out here. So Kevin was trying to get a show on the air, and he was doing stand-up, and the pilot season, I think the year before, he and Ray really bonded because they both failed, trying to get on a show. And when Everyone's Raymond happened, Ray wanted to use Kevin, and Phil wanted to use Kevin. Kevin was very funny, and he would do an impression of Ray. And so it came up that, okay, let's put Kevin on the show. This is a Phil decision, not Tom decision. Let's put Kevin on the show, Phil and Raymond. And so that's why he was Kevin, because he was only Kevin. The idea that he was Doug, there was no show Doug. There was no King of Queens. It's 2 years later. So there was no, hey, we're going to fool the audience. So he was Kevin. Then Michael Whitehorn and I can't remember the name of the other gentleman created King of Queens. And they cast Kevin James as the part of Doug. Is it Heffernan? Is that right? And so then CBS said, hey, guess what? We have another show on CBS with Kevin James, who you guys know, but he is going to be on your show. But he's not going to be Kevin. He's going to be Doug because we're promoting the show. And we don't care about Kevin because we have to promote the show. So that is the story of that. And then John Manfrotati. John Manfrotati was a stand-up comedian in New York who knew Ray way back when and helped Ray get into the Comedy Cellar early on, and John was an actor, and he was living out in Los Angeles. So Ray's like, look, I have one part for a cable guy. Do you want a paycheck? Yes, I'll take a paycheck. So then, because our show's going to be canceled, because it's 106 in the ratings right now, and I think there's only 105 shows. So John Manfrotati, we're going to cast you as the cable guy. Okay, I'll take it. Or, John, you cannot take it in hopes that maybe the show goes and you get cast as a friend in the future. And John Manfrotati says, I'll take the work, please. I'll take the work, because Raymond, when you were on News Radio, you got fired at the table read, after the table read. So I don't think your show's going to last. So there you go. Just a real brief history for people who are like, why would they not cast, etc. So, and I think that even for me, as you can tell, I'm pretty level-headed. I feel bad when a channel that I'm watching and someone gets heated answering critics, because I go, why are you even paying attention to them? So that is a legitimate question. But I do, when people come with such heat of like, do they think we're stupid that we wouldn't notice that? I'm like, I don't think that even enters into it. All right, let's catch up on a couple. Let's go over to YouTube. Let's go over to Instagram. Hi, Leo. Tom, would you have thought it in April 2021 when you started this? I think I started in April 2020, Leo. That almost 5 years later, you would still be doing the podcast? No, and the truth is, we're building the podcast studio, and so we really haven't even done. Yes, I'm agreeing with you, Leo. I'm not disagreeing with you. I would not have thought that. I don't know what else to call this, but the podcast. But we haven't even started the official Ever's Raymond podcast that's available on Apple, etc. That's what the studio's for. Do you guys want to see a tour of the studio? Next week, maybe I'll give you a tour. We're getting the lights. We're getting this. It's a piecemeal thing because, we have to build the studio. What is the tea I'm drinking? Here we go. So this, by the way, for those of you, this is a very iconic. See, I got to get my head out and then it'll focus. Let me tell you how the way this camera works, people. It's locking on my eyes. So if I bring this cup up, it doesn't want to get rid of my eyes, because if you're shooting a movie, you want the actor's eyes. And people would go, why are we on the teacup? But now I have to duck and trick the camera. So this is actually ceramic, but it's an iconic cup that if you lived in New York in the 80s, 90s, you would see this all the time before Starbucks, etc. This was every Greek diner had this cup. We are happy to serve you. This I got at Ali Romano's wedding. It was a gift. Okay. Here we go. Let's see this. Let me do this away from the camera. High complex drive. What is that? What is the meaning of complex drive? Alex Manessis mentioned in the reunion special she was not instantly chosen as Stefania. How was Stefania originally envisioned for her? Yeah, well, sorry. I think Phil had that vision of her, but he doesn't know who Alex Manessis is. He doesn't know. Maybe he did. I mean, he obviously had to see casting stuff. When she said she wasn't instantly cast, she had to come back a lot. It took a long time because sometimes we know how great Alex Manessis is. So this has nothing to do with the performance, but sometimes when you're in casting. So here for a specific thing, when you would write an episode, Phil would have you come in casting. Lisa Miller Katz, who, if you watch the special, was very prominent in the special on part 1 and part 2, she would narrow down. So we need an actress who can speak Italian who is stunningly beautiful. Okay, so how many come in? 60? 60 maybe? 50? I don't know the number that came in for that. Because when you do the Humvac episode, we need an attractive actress who could be, you could convince her that, you could be convinced that she is a legitimate vacuum cleaner salesman. You probably get 600 applications. That's a good question for Lisa the next time she is here. Okay, so then that gets narrowed down. And then if you write the script, Lisa Miller Katz goes, hey, I have 10 people. You now sit in Phil's office for the final-ish casting, and 10 people come in. Very often you're like, wow, that Alex Meneses was a home run of home runs. Who are we going to get that's better? Sometimes it comes down to one or two where you go, well, they played it this way and they played it this way. And just like casting a Brad Garrett as Ray's brother, Ray's real-life brother's shorter than Ray. And then Brad Garrett is much, much taller than Ray. So Phil wasn't thinking, oh, let's get a much, much taller guy. So that's kind of, that's a little bit more insight into the Stefania role. So I don't know what the delay was, but obviously she was good. Exceptional, I would say. Tom, hi Leo. I'm doing 2 in a row from you. Is that fair to the others? Tom, were there any good stars? Were there any sports stars or celebrity that was invited for season 1 who turned down the show? If so, who was it? That is a great question, and I know there was one guy that Phil didn't have on the show, and it just went out of my head. It's one of those things. He is a race car driver who was gigantic in 1997. So think of a famous, I'm going to say NASCAR. I don't think he was an IndyCar driver, who Phil was like, you know what? I think we're okay without sports stars. Nothing to do with him, the sports star itself. Because as we know at the beginning, the show was very, very low rated. And the president of CBS said, hey, I'd like your show not to be canceled. Let's have some giant sports stars like Tommy Lasorda and I almost said Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on your show. Okay, let's go back to here. Let's go way down. Let's go back to, I don't know how many people watch on YouTube, but we really have to pick up our presence on YouTube. Hi, Tom and ELR family. Okay, now we're caught up. Whenever you say hi to us, it reminds me of Romper Room. Yes, you and I both that old. You and I are both that old. Well, Karen, I don't know if I want to be included in that. I don't know Romper Room saying hello. Did they say hello to the audience? I think Romper Room was a show for children on the East Coast. Did it run from like I don't know when it ran, 1955 maybe to 1970? Who knows? Romper Room. Am I thinking of the right one? I hope so. Okay, let's keep scrolling. Okay, catching up. Deb Tucker, Frank, excellent question. Yeah, see, let's see. Technical and creative Grammys are having the broadcast show is at 5 p.m. Okay, yeah. So David Wild, who was a big champion of the show, I know he's writing the Emmys, and I saw him writing the Grammys, rather. One year he wrote the Grammys, Oscars, and Emmys. That's called Being Busy. Okay, let's see. Hi, Annabelle. Yes, catching up. So, Deborah, Tucker, Frank, drafting scripts. Which episode took the longest to break in the writer's room? So the term is, just so you guys know, if Phil says, hey, we're going to break stories, that means we're I don't know where the term comes from. There must be a term. I should know it. I'm in the business-ish. So we're going to break stories. So from the outside, you hear if someone said, hey, we're going to go in and break your refrigerator. breaking stories. You're creating the story. You're working out the stories. You're for example, for me, one that I've seen a lot of clips of lately, the Young Girl episode. That's me. Oh, you know who I did see? I saw Kevin Nealon at a celebrity. My friend did a celebrity thing. Why, Tom? Why is that interesting or related? Or is is it a crazy non sequitur? No. When I met the Young Girl in real life, backstage in the green room at the Hermosa Beach Comedy Magic Club, favorite comedy club in the world, who had a lot of Ray and Deborah's and Brad and Marie's outfits, Mike Lacey, the owner. When I met the Young Girl, I was in the green room with Gary Shandling and Kevin Nealon. So I saw Kevin Nealon last week, and I said, Kevin, you don't know this, but you were present for this initial conversation that led to an episode of Ebbers Raymond called Young Girl, which he had no memory of the incident, which was from his side, he doesn't know the follow-up. A woman that went to high school with Gary Shandling showed up in the green room and was just talking to them, and they were ignoring the daughter who sat next to me, and that's how I started talking to her, and that's how she came to the show, etc. Okay. Yes. Okay. Let me scrolling up here. Excellent question by Leo. That remind me, Leo, next time Phil is on to ask if there were any sports stars that turned us down, and Lisa Miller Katz would probably know more because generally she was the head of casting. So generally you don't say to Phil, here's the list of people that don't like us. Behind the scenes movie production. Kristen. Okay. Your show is awesome. When I went to UCLA, I used to take classes at night. They were offered for behind the scenes production. They were expensive. Let's get every cookie company sponsor you. Behind the scenes movie production. You used to take classes at night. They were offered for behind the scenes movie production. That's an interesting way because I would think it's just movie production. To say, yes, we need to get some sponsors from cookie companies. Did Deborah pick her Hi Wicked fan 60? Did Deborah pick her own outfits? Because for being a stay-at-home mom, she dresses nice, usually sweats. Okay, I'm completing that thought for you, Wicked fan. You're saying she picked her outfit. She looked nice. For a stay-at-home mom, she looked nice. Usually, they would be wearing sweats, right? That's what you're saying. So the wardrobe department, I believe, would suggest outfits to Patricia Heaton, and then she would give a thumbs up or thumbs down unless it was a specific outfit, like for the PTNA episode where she had to look like a hooker. That was, okay, you have to look like a hooker. So that's the part. Now, having said that, Patty, and people have commented this, like her look changed. I'm like, please post pictures of you every single week for the next 9 years and see if you changed at all. Not aging wise, I'm just thinking style wise. So Patty, I think Patty went through a normal thing where she was a mom and had twins. And then, the character, which also mirrors Patricia Heaton, who was pregnant season 1 and season 3, eventually people get so uptight. Eventually you either do or not, but sometimes you're like, hey, I'm tired of being a frumpy mom and exhausted all the time, and it's invaluable work. I know everybody, and I know you don't have to look good, and I know who cares, but sometimes human beings are human beings, and they want to not feel like the frumpy housewife. And so they get into shape, or they spend more money on makeup and feeling good about themselves. And so Patricia Heaton in real life kind of went through that cycle. So there was a little bit of a struggle with Phil and Patricia Heaton, and she can defend herself next time she's here. And not that there's an accusation, but she still has to be a housewife. So you can't have her looking too good. Even if Patricia Heaton is starting to look much less housewifey. Can I say that? Are we that uptight, everybody, that I can say that? Another faux pas to accuse people of being uptight. The people who are uptight, what did I see? I read one comment. I'll have to find it. It wasn't on my page, and I generally don't engage. And people often send to me, "Hey, look what this person said on this other fan site. What do you think, Tom?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's 100% wrong. I have to do a myth show." Okay. Complex Drive. Was there a definitive reason Dr. Sundram never returned? Possibly my favorite one of character of the show. Okay, so that's an episode that I wrote with Raymond and Kevin James before he got cast in the show. And what was that called? That was called Golf, because there was also an episode called Golf for It, which I also wrote with Tucker Cawley and Michael Royce. So Dr. Sundram is my doctor in real life. He was in New Jersey, and I could do an Indian accent, which when I do it, so here, by the way, the tone, it's funny because the tone of the country has become so uptight. Some people, not everybody. I don't want to be accusing people, but there's a guy who did, it doesn't matter. He's on a big animated series, and he's not Indian, and he got hammered for doing an impression of an Indian. And so that's where we lost our mind a little bit, because actors are actors and they can act anywhere they want. So a guy acting as an astronaut doesn't have to be an astronaut. He doesn't have to get his pilot's wings and qualify for space flight. And so I'm prefacing this by saying the Dr. Sundram character, it was just funny, and I would do that accent for Kevin James, and he would like it. So Howard, I got to get into it. Howard Roberts' feet today. Oh, that was an uphill battle. Yes, so I would do that while we're writing the script, just like I would speak as Doris Roberts. I am not a 70-year-old woman yet. There's still time. And so the Dr. Sundram character, they're just, there has to be a reason for him to be in an episode. He was phenomenal. What is his real name? Iqbal? Is his real name Iqbal? I think so. I'm not sure. So there has to be a reason for any. Just like we want Amy Aquino, the cookie lady. We want to see her with Peter. We want to do that whole series. We want to do a series with Amy and her parent. But there has to be enough shows, and the network has to say yes. Okay, so let me catch up on some more, and then I want to talk about that board. No question, just love the show and still keeps my mornings bright every morning when it airs in the UK. The Kate Bennett. That is a very nice, yes, you don't need a question. I so appreciate that comment for you from the UK. And I will say, I just watched The Lone Baron in the background where I was prepping the studio, and I was like, ooh, it's very funny. It's also an episode that I wrote with Jeremy Stevens. But I was like, wow, it's fun because you forget. And I'm like, it really puts you in a good mood. Okay. Phil said Deborah's character was a put upon housewife. She played it to perfection. Yes, Kristen, 100%. And I know some people have talked about it in the past. If you can see Exporting Raymond, I really, 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 really highly recommend it, because there's a big discussion about what she wears in the show that Phil has. That's kind of shocking, because Phil is having the discussion with the wardrobe person, the head of wardrobe. Okay, let me scroll to the bottom to see how many I've missed and then go back. Okay, hi, Karen Jack. Let me bring you up. In defense of Deborah, I will say that I did try to look my best most of the time when I was a stay-at-home mom of three, also two. It wasn't always easy, and I didn't always succeed, but it's nice to feel like a real grown-up woman when you're around small kids all day. Yeah, so excellent point. There's a woman who was helping homeless people who just died recently, very young, in her 50s. But one of the things that she was commenting about in I was watching video of her in Los Angeles-based woman, and she was just saying how important helping the homeless people, and how many homeless women wanted help with their hair and makeup. So I think the feeling of being a mother and just wanting to look good is a common thing. So how dare I How dare I assume to know how a married woman with kids feels? Okay. Okay. Apu on The Simpsons. So funny. Yes. Apu on The Simpsons. When I was a stay-at-home mom, I didn't care how I looked at home, but if I left the house, I did put an effort to get myself gussied up before going to public. Yeah, I think it's a normal thing. Men don't have that drive quite as much. Hi, Patty. Patricia looked great in jewel colors. I can't remember her name. Okay, let me go back. Back up and catch up on all of these. Hello, Lynn Van Orden. It was there and gone. Yes. Deb, oh yes, sorry, I just brought it up, Lynn. Yes, I'll give a tour of the studio. I'll take any suggestions for decor for that studio because right now it's still sort of a blank slate. We don't want it to be too busy and we want it to be easy on the eyes, etc. With Robert eating bologna and orange juice like an animal, who came up with a specific depressing food that Robert was forced to eat? So that, I think that was my script. What is that episode? Robert Needs Money? That would be my script. So maybe me, I don't remember who came up with it. We thought, what's the most disgusting thing? And that's still to this day. Oi. Tom, many of the storylines are based on Phil's real lives. Phil and Ray's were the events in the cult or counseling inspired by any real experience writing staff. So counseling, I think, was Mike Royce's real life thing with his wife. Just so you know. And then the cult, I believe, was that a Tucker and Phil story? That was how do we get, Deborah and Marie to come back together again. So that was not, I don't know anybody that joined a cult, but that's a good question for Tucker or Phil next time. I don't know that anybody joined a cult back then. Oh, you know what's funny? I saw the woman. So Kevin Nealon's wife is the leader of the cult. A face that I'd like to know. That was Kevin Nealon's wife, who I also saw and talked to her. Okay, great question, Deb. Let's see this. I love the kitchen. Yes. Okay, going down, catching up. Okay. Deb, Tucker, Frank, besides Jealous Robert, which episode that you worked on that you feel best represents the show? Did you capture any memorable moments during the filming of Jealous Robert? Jealous Robert. I might have videotaped that entire thing. So for those of you that have been following me every week, you know that I took 30,000 photos. Here, let me take another drink. I think this may just be, there you go. There's our friend Phil. I took also about 200 hours of video footage. So what you're seeing, do I have that hard drive handy? I think I was editing on it. Is it over here? I don't see it over here. These little hard drives have a ton of photos on them, folks. And I have many, many, many of them. And I have videotape after videotape that has to be digitized, but it costs money to digitize it. So it costs, if you do 100, it's $18 a tape. So if you do 100 tapes, and I have 200 or 300, something like that. Okay, this tease. Should I have drank some honey? Gil recommended it a while ago, and that really helps me. But I don't think I can. Okay, here we go. Catching up now, everybody. The board. That's what I brought up. What time is it? How are we doing on time? We're fine. We're fine on time. Oh, and actually, so here, I posted my address online on the site. I'm getting a lot of stuff. So thank you. I can only eat so much. And then, so Kristen, you sent me a cake, which was, it's in a freezer right now because I have to taste it on a Sunday. At a undisclosed secret location, but let me see. I'm going to show everybody the cake that you sent, where would that be? Where would that picture be? So I love mail, anything. This is almost a miracle, I would say. I would call this a miracle that this arrived. So let me go back through here. Here is this. Okay, here we go. Okay, folks, so that, okay, Tom's eyes, right? Okay, so that is a complete chocolate cake with frosting. Now, you say, Tom, how could that can't possibly survive shipping. So that's the inside. Well, that just looks like parchment paper or something. And then upon opening, what do we see? We see that shipped through the mail, which, by the way, folks, I ordered Jammy Dodgers once through the mail, and it looked like, I don't know if it was 6 or 7 monkeys that beat it with a hammer and baseball bats, but it was, I think there was one of the many, many cookies survived in its entirety. The rest were like crumbs. But here, okay, ready for a gasp, a collective gasp? Here is a completely intact chocolate cake without any of the icing being disturbed. So, Kristen, thank you so much. So next week I will taste that. I had to freeze it because the timing, etc. So I really appreciate all the stuff. That's a miracle. I would discourage such kindness, especially having to ship a cake, or if anything is frozen. Because I have to go to that place. So if it's really timely, you have to write that message. But this I have to open now in a second from our friend Kim. A king cake, which I have never had, a Mardi Gras tradition. I will open it. That's a bear. That weighs 20 pounds. I'm going to have to open that. Okay, so let me catch up here. Yes, smiling, a brilliant show. Karen, yes, grew up Chicago. Yes. Wow, I'm really sorry. What you're hearing, for the folks that are just listening, I'm trying to scroll past all of these past discussions. Okay. I have to get to the dry erase board. Can you explain the rules of the intro credits for cast and crew? Sometimes I've seen your name and sometimes not. Also, either in last or next last season, Madeline Sweeten's name was added to intro credits, not her brothers, even though all three were almost always together. Was this because the twins had fewer lines, or their age, or budget reasons for the networks? Okay, so the credits are often individually negotiated, not mine. Mine, I'm not so important for in the scheme of things. So Doris Roberts, I think, negotiated to have "and Doris Roberts as," or some wording, some special wording. And Jeremy Stevens said it the best to me, which is, don't worry about your credit. If you are talented, people will find you and know what you contributed. But in the world of Hollywood, I've touched upon this before, credit is really important because so much of Hollywood is smoke and mirrors and heat and perception. And so if you're all of a sudden second billing and you were top billing, it's like his star is on the decline. He's no longer valid. Versus all of a sudden you read in the trades, they got cast in this. Oh my God, they're back on top again. So there's a lot more at play. Now, for my specific credit, the first season I had a weird credit because I was not a writer and it was just a made-up credit. Then second year I was a staff writer, and a staff writer does not get credit. And even when Ray, Kevin, and I wrote the golf episode, I did not get paid extra for that script. Versus once you become, what is the next step? Story editor? I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of titles. You get a credit in a certain place. That I know is negotiated. So for Madeline Sweeten at the end of the season series, I don't know. We'll have to ask Madeline, but I'm sure it was just because she was more prevalent or something, or her manager negotiated. Something happened, folks, that did that. So, and then also I think there's, once you're a certain level, it goes before. So there's all kinds of specific rules that happens, etc. Excellent question. Tom, since you took over 30,000 photos behind the scenes, what is the most memorable photo taken during the filming of each season? Wow, that's a big question. So I'd have to go through it. The first one where I thought, oh, this is an awesome question was, awesome photo was Ray jumping in the can opener episode where Ray is in mid-flight. I'm sure I can find it. Karen Jack, I can't remember her name, but I think it could be right. Miss Linda. Okay, maybe we're back on Romper Room. These side discussions are awesome. When I was, yes, okay, good. Now I'm catching up. Here we go. Let's catch up, everybody. She always looked good in red. Tom, off topic. Did you receive the puzzle yet? I did not. Where was the puzzle sent? Was it sent to that address? I get Ray home alone and Lone Barone mixed up. I love the one where he's afraid to stay home alone and they try to scare Frank. Hilarious, underrated episode. Donnell, I didn't know you ever got mixed up. So those are two that I wrote with Jeremy and then Phil and then Tucker and Raymond. Yes, Ray home alone is where he's afraid to be alone. The Lone Barone is where he's waiting for the curtains to be delivered and he gives a speech to Robert and Robert breaks up with Amy. What happened to Nemo? Excellent question. Yeah. So it's an inference, right? That we fill in with our imagination. I don't know if that'll be in Unsolved Mysteries or Cold Case or something like that. The real Nemo initially. So there was a Nemo, then we replaced him with another Nemo. So the original Nemo, Joe Perry, he died during the show. And he was not well towards the end of the show. Then he got replaced by another Nemo, and we didn't acknowledge it really. And then that Nemo disappeared. So he went away because David Proval was needed in the show. So, hi, Ellen. I think I mentioned this before, but I remember I had some similar outfits to Deborah's. I was living the life of being a school mom, trying to help with fundraisers and enjoying the kids performing the holiday shows. That's very nice to hear. When Marco said he'd go away, his body was probably in the bottom of the river, both his legs, that seems extreme, Karen, that they broke his legs and bottom of the river, but you could be right. Hi, Deb. Tom, with all the sweets you're getting, I could send you a hot dog from Hot Dogs Johnny's in Buttsville, New Jersey, if you ever up this way, my treat. Yes, just worth it for the name. Yeah, I love the sweets. I can only eat so many at a time, but yes, I should start eating. I should break into that cake. But first, I have to talk about what I mentioned at the very beginning. I am what's known as a filthy liar. Okay, so this board, let's do this, and let's do this. Actually, you know what? Let me go to my photo, because then I can zoom in a little bit more. So the dry erase board, that just informally started because Steve Scrovan, very funny writer, Yale graduate, he just kept track of the board in the first year writer's room. And then we're in season 3. In season 3, we moved into this room, which was Chuck Jones's offices. Chuck Jones was the Looney Tunes guy. So here we go. So that, I know believe me, folks, I know part of it is over, it's blown out, as we would say in the business. So Steve would just start keeping track on the board. And he had really great handwriting, and it really, really helped for us to keep track of when did we do this? What was that episode? So at a glance, we could see that. And now a lot of you have said, what is your favorite season? We were so living the individual. You guys consume it in a different way than we were working on it. So every episode was an individual thing that you lived within. So I don't think any of the writers would be like, my favorite season is this, because it's not the way we work. And I'll ask whenever anybody, comes on again, any of the writers come on again. But as it's presented here, this makes it easier to see the seasons. So there you go. That was up to season 6. So you still had season 7, which was the whole proposal. Season 8, The Bird. Season 9, Pat's Secret. Like all these episodes are yet to come. Which is exciting. And again, the show was supposed to be canceled after before season 1. It wasn't even ordered. a complete season 1. There was only like 9 and then another 9, etc. So somebody wrote, hey, why are there different numbers of episodes? Well, the first season was not going to even make it to a first season, so we ended up with whatever, 22. And then the second season was more, and then I think CBS said to Phil, hey, can you make 26 episodes? If they're making money and they like the show, you're going to make a lot of episodes. So that kind of, that was the arbiter of what, why we did 20. I think someone will know and keep track, and you might be like, Tom, just read the numbers on the board. The numbers are just getting progressively higher on the board. So it doesn't say episode 1 through 22, episode 1 through 26. It doesn't say that. It goes progressively higher. You guys are familiar with the numbers. We did 22 our first. I'd have to do the math, and that's watching someone do math in their head is a very boring thing. Okay, so let me catch up on comments before I break into the king cake. Who has had a king cake here? I'm very curious. Let me see this. Okay, scrolling down to the bottom. Okay, let's see this. On Jealous Robert, you wrote the episode with Ray. Yes, I wrote that episode with Raymond. Frank Peterboyle has a great scene where it relates to Robert's jealousy to a time he punched a car, right? He punched a headlight. Did you write that line for Peter Boyle based on his acting style? So you kind of knew what a character was like by that time, especially Jealous Robert. I do know my friend Frank Pecorella. I tried to put his name. I put his name in there, but we couldn't make it Frank Pecorella because there was a Frank Barone, so we changed it to Chuck Pecorella. But we thought it'd be funny. Yes. So the short answer is, I mean, you kind of got the characters in your head, which is why a lot of people are like, season 1. It wasn't as good as season 9. Well, sure, but there were still some good episodes in season 1, like Why Are We Here, etc. Okay. Karen Kraft, my king cake experience is described above. Oh, now I have to, you're making me do work, Karen. I think that was just great acting. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. This is where I have to catch up and people know. Great acting on Brad's part. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Linda. Yes, it has not arrived there at the Burbank airport. In Marie's vision, how did you make Robert's lift? That was all acting on Brad Garrett's part. If that's what we're talking about. Let's see this. Let me see this. Sorry, folks. I accidentally muted. So here we go. So I was saying, I was reading the question. You all collectively did such a great job. Has anybody tried a new series to join forces? Yes. Unrelated to Everett Raven? Yes. The answer is yes. Phil has tried many times. So when I say tried, the steps to make a show is you have to pitch the show, then you have to cast the show, then it has to get on the air. So there's been various variations. I pitched a sitcom that I sold that didn't get shot. Tucker Cawley has had a few that did get shot. Mike Royce, like a lot of the individual writers have, and again, it's frustrating. What you heard when the sound went out is it's very, for me, it's very tough to see when we get together how funny everybody is, and that there's no outlet for it. So yes, that is the short of it. That is the short of it. So, okay, let's see this. Let's go up. Okay, now, here we go. Let me see this. Let me see this. Okay. Sorry, folks. So here, for those of you that missed it, Kim sent me a king cake. I would like to weigh it, but I can't. Okay, let's see what it... hold on. This is a little bit of work. So here we go, folks. Don't know what that is. So that's inside, okay. There's some stuff here. Wow, some beads, okay. I guess these are Mardi Gras beads. Did we hear about Deborah with some Mardi Gras beads? I can put these on, I guess. Should I put them on now? Let me see. Let me see. Yes, Deb, Tucker, Frank, looking back at the entire run, which episode, which season best captures the essence of the show? It's so hard. I mean, they were also, it's too big of a thing to say. Okay, here's the Mardi Gras beads. Should I wait till Mardi Gras to put them on? Maybe I'll wait till Mardi Gras. When is Mardi Gras? Alexa, when does Mardi Gras start?
Mardi Gras 2026 falls on Tuesday, February 17th.
Okay, Tuesday, February 17th. Okay. No tops were lifted. Okay, so now let's get to, oh my gosh. This is, okay, so here we go, folks. Wow, I'm going to be covered in crumbs, I think. So let me try and, this is, oh my gosh, this will have to be shared. Okay. Yeah. By the way, you know what I'm going to do, though? Sorry to keep you guys in suspense. Where are we on time? I feel bad. Okay. Here we're going to do something I haven't done in a while that I love doing. We're going to guess any episode. Okay? You're going to guess it. You're going to guess this episode. This is Tom. This is Tom's guessing game. Get rid of Tom. These are the wardrobe episode photos, and so you have to try and guess. I'm going to show you that photo quickly. Okay. So some of the episodes, you know, this is not Robert's date, where if you saw Robert's mustard-colored suit, you can guess the episode. I try and guess one. So here we go. Let's see if anybody can guess this. There's Patricia Heaton with her arms folded, not in anger. Let's see this. There we go. Patty again. Okay, I think you guys are going to... The reason I want to do this for the king cake is I don't want to handle these covered with sugar. That's why I jumped to this, because I can't... I need like a triage unit. Okay, here we go. Anybody guessing this yet? Doris Roberts with one of her colorful outfits. That's going to be tough. Who can guess this? Tom Caltabiano here, holding up a wardrobe episode Polaroids from this episode. Who can guess? Oh, page turned. Frank standing there, Peter Boyle. Okay, Donnell, Snow Day. Yes, right before I show the Peter Boyle one. Excellent job, Donnell. Excellent job. Let's just take this to the end. See, this is an easier one to guess. I'm not taking credit away from you, Donnell. There's Patty on stage with her gloves. Everything was filmed on stage. We brought Snow on stage. And let's see what we got here. Of course, Monica, who I saw last night. So that, once you see that, That's an easy guess. And the blonde is one of our wardrobe people, either Ashley or Sonia Uten. So, okay, there you go. So now, the king cake. Yes, yes. The power outage snow day. Yes, Donnell. Excellent guess. Let's see. Did somebody beat you? I just want to be clear. There are no prizes, but there is pride in bragging rights. Donnell, congratulations. Okay, let me open this giant. Now, how do you eat this? Is this something you eat in the morning? Is this something you eat at night? I'm coming from a place of complete ignorance. Okay, I need a bread knife. Oh wow, it smells phenomenal. Whew, holy moly. Okay, don't worry folks. Okay, let me cut a bite. Okay, I shouldn't get winded cutting cake. Wow, it is a sugary, delicious smelling. Okay, hold on, let me put that here. And then let me get a napkin. Okay, because already, that was a smart decision. Okay, here we go, folks. Let's see how that camera does. So it's hard. So there's let's see, where's the top? The top is here. So I'm seeing like I don't want to analyze, I should just taste it. So there's the top, a multicolored panoply of deliciousness. Okay, let's taste this. The first ever. Never heard of a king cake. How's that for fantastic ignorance? Okay, hold on. I mean, it's fantastic. How would I describe this? It's like is there cinnamon in the middle? See this? Okay. The doughy, the body of the cake. Here, I see a little piece here. Don't worry, Kim, the knife is staying in the box. So, the magnitude of flavors, whoa, that's really, I may have to shower after this. Okay, let me cut another piece, just to be sure. So, it's definitely sweet. The body is not sweet. The flavor, the different colored flavor, what are those colors that I'm seeing in the crust? See, it's really hard to grab this without. Okay, here we go, folks. Okay, one more bite. Let's see this. So, they're definitely cinnamon blast. Sorry, this is a lot of chewing. I apologize, folks, but it's really tasty. It's hard to, so I'm getting cinnamon. It's a very sweet. So the dough is not sweet. The icing is crazy sweet. I mean, it's phenomenal. When do you eat this? Mardi Gras? Do you eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? I'm going to give that. I'm going to give another high rating. I'm going to give that a 9. That is super, 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 super tasty. But I don't know. I'm going to have to bring it to the studio, where I hope there's 40 people at the studio on Monday. And I guess I can freeze it. So purple, green, and gold, is that the colors? I don't know. How are we on time? Okay. Phenomenal on time, everybody. Let me do some final. Great job, Donnell, guessing, by the way. So Is it a coffee cake type? So the body feels coffee cake. I'm trying to think. The body is not. The crumb of the majority of the cake is not sweet. It feels coffee cake-ish, but the icing is all the flavor, is all the sweetness. I would have that. Is there a baby in the cake? What does that mean? Is there a baby in the cake? Let's see. Hi, Danelle. Mardi Gras colors are green, purple, and gold, representing faith, power, and justice. It is eaten between Epiphany and Mardi Gras. If you find the baby Jesus in it, you have good luck. Ah. It is a French brioche. Yeah, brioche is actually a bread. Yeah. So they call it king cake, but it's more bread. That's what I was going to say. As somebody who makes bread every day, is it all the same flavor or different ones as you eat your way around it? That's a great question. I'll let you know as I've eaten my way around it. I don't know. Can somebody answer that question? The mystery of the king cake, is it so? I think so. I don't know. I can't tell. It's hard to tell because I'd have to take it all in the bag and I'd be covered with crumbs, which I'm not saying I haven't done that in the past. Okay, let me scroll up and see if I've missed anything. Hi, Kim. Kim, who worked on Raymond. Scrolling up. Okay, that's good. We're caught up on Instagram, and let's go there. The whole thing is the same flavor. Okay, thank you, Kim. Does the middle taste like cinnamon or babka? That's not. Cinnamon is definitely in there. The one I was giving the year I had. Here we go. The year I had. The 1 year I had was a cream cheese version. Is there often and there are often praline versions. Okay, yeah, this one. Thank goodness it didn't have cream cheese because, folks, if you send me anything frozen, I would need a heads up, so people can go to the mailbox and retrieve it. Before it goes. Hi, Deb Tucker. Tom, I saw that Brad Garrett's doing stand-up May 5th at the MGM in Vegas. Find out, if possible, if Ray will be doing any shows on that day. I can almost guarantee you Ray's probably not in Vegas then, because I think he's doing some new projects, etc. My husband and I will be out that way, coming back from a 2-week trip, seeing the national parks with the group. We're staying an extra day at the Paris Hotel and thought to catch a show. Yes. And don't forget, Brad Garrett has a beautiful, beautiful club. Brad Garrett is as funny a human being as you will see. He's not the Robert character. So if you're expecting clean, comedy, he is more Don Rickles. Have that in your mind. And I highly recommend going to his club. Beautiful club. And he is very, very funny. Seinfeld. Yes. Cinnamon babka. And Phil actually did a babka. Okay. Everybody. Let me see. Were there anything else that I saw that I read? What would you make for Marie if she came over? Fantastic. I think we had 900 comments. So we should talk about that next week. But great responses. I want to try some of the dishes. And really, when I posted, I was thinking, do you have a go-to dish that nobody has said anything other than, will you marry me? Or this is the greatest thing I've ever eaten? Or please live with me? Things like that. The way Frank responded when Deborah makes something good. And of course, we all have people in our lives who are super, super critical, and you end up not wanting to go out of your way to help them because no matter what you do, they will not like it. And it's the reverse when people really like stuff. So those responses are great, folks. I can't wait to see. It's going to be 1,000 responses. So it's going to have to, we're going to have to compile and make some recipes. Okay, everybody, have a good week. Thank you all for so many of your comments. Keep the comments coming throughout the week. And we will see you next Sunday. And we will also be in the new studio, I think, next Sunday. Yes, we will. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.